Is there any parts that any of you guys would like me to go into? Any of you guys have a question that you'd like to ask me?
I want to know more about harems.
Harold? I'll tell you. You know, I had a student ask me also, because like I said, the 10th question is, what would you like to accomplish with me? And he asked me for a harem. So I said to him like this, come up here. Come up here. Okay? Give me here, talk about harem. So, I gotta know a few things. What do you do for a living? Are you a student?
I'm a student.
Okay. What are you taking in school?
Psychology.
Ah, like my son, okay. So you got a heavy load. Which school are you going to?
Go to York.
How many hours a day do you go to school?
Like 6.
6 hours a day. Okay, what do you do when you're not in school?
Work.
Ooh, how many hours a day do you work?
I work like 4 hours, 5 hours a week. Sorry, per day, just on the side.
Okay. Don't move. First, we have to go through, if you want a harem, you got to go through logistics. Write down. How many hours you go to school?
6 a day. I go to class 3 times a week, so 18 hours.
18 hours. Okay, we can go by, okay, 18 hours. And you work how many hours a week?
Say about 15, 20.
Okay, so.
Say 15.
Okay, how much is that in a week?
That's 31 hours.
There's also homework time.
Yeah, homework time as well.
Okay, that's with homework time?
No, that's without homework time.
Give
So
me the
class-
homework time too.
Let's go 40 hours.
Okay, 40 hours with homework time.
Yeah.
Okay, how many hours do you have in a week? You have 24 hours a day.
Half 24 times 7.
How about 75?
Well, that's 168 hours.
168 hours a week.
Yes.
Okay, so out of deduct the 40 hours from 168.
128.
128. Okay, what do you have left?
You have 128 hours.
128 hours.
Minus sleeping, which
Okay, how many hours do you try to sleep a day?
is 8,
Okay, 8 times 7.
56,
Okay, minus that.
72 hours left after that.
How many hours do you take for eating? I'd say a student, you're like my son, you can eat in 2 seconds, but we'll say an hour a day.
Okay.
Okay, let's just say an hour a day, so 7 hours. Take off 7 hours for eating.
Okay.
Now you got shitting, showering, and washing. So you can figure it.
Minus another 10 hours.
Okay, 10 hours.
Okay.
How many hours a day you have left?
55.
55.
For a week.
For a week.
Yeah.
Divide that by 7.
Okay. That's almost 8.
8 hours a day.
About. Yeah.
I think it's less.
You didn't do your math right.
56
Yeah.
divided by
Yeah.
8. It's about 7.
No, it's not.
Sorry,
that.
7 divided by 8.
You said 40 hours for homework, right?
Yeah, but 168 in total.
Who did the math right here?
No, you didn't add the 40 and the 31.
Oh, yeah, I did- I didn't
You
sub- I
add
didn't subtract the
71
40,
and
yeah.
subtract that from 168, which is.
I just subtracted 40.
He's in psychology, not in math. That's for
Okay, no,
sure.
fine. I have 15 hours a week free time. I forgot to add the 40 from before. Yeah.
Okay, so how many hours you have left?
I have 15. So
The auditor says you don't have time for hair.
Yeah.
Well, no, you have 15 hours a week to devote to how many girls you want to have in your harem?
3.
5 hours a week per girl?
Yeah.
You don't have a fucking chance in hell. Okay? 5 hours a week? A week.
Yeah.
It's talking to them on the phone.
Shit.
You gotta pay attention to a woman if you want to have her in your harem. It's different than going out on a date. Okay? A harem is. you
Fuck
have-
homework, fuck school, let's get bitches all day.
Yeah, you don't have.
I agree with you.
You can have what you want, but you don't have the time to devote. And not only that, you're going to be very tired with their attitude.
Yeah.
So I say this to those guys: you want to have a harem? Start with 1. Have a girlfriend. See how much time it takes you And if you can have her for less than 7 hours a week, you can have the second one. If you can't, there's no room. And we didn't put any time in for yourself for playing video games, going out with the guys for a pizza, hanging out. You still gotta live, eh?
Sure.
What's a harem?
A harem's having more than one girlfriend. The reason I started with harems is very simple. I always had this idea that what happens if I don't have a girl to fuck? That was my biggest fear. Okay, a woman wants a guy to pay attention to her if it's your girlfriend. You can't get away with certain things. It's not just a fuck. If it's a girl you start dating, you see her once a week, you're in school, you see her, go on a date once a week with her. If you don't pay attention to her, she's not gonna stay with you for long because they are like children. They want your attention. I was lucky. When I started off, I was in university, and then I got a job for a summer driving trucks. Now, I was too young to drive the trucks, but I lied to the guy. He says, how old are you? I says, 25. I was 22, but I was still, and he took a chance. I did a good job. And I started making money. And when you drive tractor trailers, you get paid by miles. When you're young, and today it's different. Today, you have a logbook. You can't drive more than 8 hours a day because they check your logbook on all those check stops. So when I was doing it, I was lucky I could drive 16 hours a day and, get paid. It was an easy kind of thing. So I had a lot of free time. Free time was to pursue women. I saw after having one girlfriend, I could go for two. I was always hunting for a third. I always gave myself one day a week that I go out looking for another girlfriend. But with a harem, you have to be very tough. I used to tell them, you're not allowed to call me at work. I don't take calls at work. Even later on when I opened my own business and I had a secretary, I said, don't let any of the girls get through. Once in a while she let a girl get through, I get mad at her. I said, I told you. I give them rules. I want them to learn to follow the rules. That's the hardest thing for a woman, is to follow your rules. If you want them to respect you, you have to give them rules. And if you want them to respect your rules, you have to be tough. Tough meant that, I only have time on Thursday night to go out with you. Why not Friday nights? No, I'm busy Friday nights. What are you busy with? What? You're not running my life. You're only enjoying part of my life. So I try to tell everybody, and I tell this to women too, I believe I'm on the train of life. The train starts the day you're born, and it stops the day you die. Where it goes, it's your train. You decide where it goes. It can stop at a station, you can let people on, and you can let people off if they're not behaving properly. It's your train. Nobody can be on your train as long as you are. And you don't want somebody else driving your train, unless you do. And then you're talking to the wrong person. Because I don't believe somebody should drive my train. I've lived my life by going where I want to go. Like I said, when my harems fell apart, was always around. As soon as Christmas started coming, I knew that's it. I'm going to lose. You got to choose one. You can't be with everybody. Even the years that I thought I had a brilliant idea and I went away for vacation on Christmas and New Year's, I still dealt with Valentine's Day. That was the biggest disaster. And I had systems in place. I wouldn't say tricks. A lot of people like to say tricks, but I had systems in place, like I did with the Harlequin novels. I'd give them a book when I wanted to bring them closer to me. And I remember one year I gave a girl a Valentine's Day card. And right away, she hit me with, "You don't even know what the card said. You just went in to buy a card. And if I know you, you probably went in, took the first one you saw, and bought it." I go, "At least I signed it." I think that's the only time I opened the card, when I signed it. And I thought to myself, how do I get away from buying a girl a card and her giving me shit? Here I spent money on a card. I went to the store. I got off my ass, went into the store, bought the card, signed my name to it, and gave it to her. I thought that's pretty nice. But no, I got shit for that. So I went back to my buddy that got me the Harlequin novels in the store. And I said to him, "You sell all these cards. Can you do me a favor? Can you give me a case, a gross of Valentine's Day card, the same one?" He goes, "The same one?" I go, "Yeah, the same card." And I bought Christmas cards, birthday cards, all the same card. It's easy to memorize one poem from one fucking card. And I gave it to every single girl. And you know how nice it is when you give her the card and she opens it up and she's looking at it. And you can recite the poem while she's reading it. Oh, fuck. You're getting fucked that night for sure. Oh, he's so romantic. Again, I figured it out by getting shit. Now, I made a plan. Instead of getting shit, he's so romantic. I remember one girl, she says to me, I saw her 2 Valentines in a row because I really liked her. And she says to me, "You know, you gave me the same card last year?" And I go, "Do you have any idea how hard it would be to get the same card 2 years in a row?" And she looked at me and go, "Wow, yeah, you're so romantic." I was lucky I was quick on my feet. I didn't tell her, because I won't lie to them. I wouldn't tell her, "You have a fucking case of them." Because I had to do stuff to fine-tune my ability to have it. A lot of stuff I did, same thing, like, I remember one time I called this girl. Her name was Maureen. I called her Linda. Oh, fuck. I don't, if it's ever happened to anybody here, you know you got trouble. You call them the wrong name, you got trouble. So I had to literally train myself. I never called them by their name again. Sweetheart, darling. You can't make a mistake, they're all sweethearts and they're all darlings. But yeah, you have to train yourself. When it comes to having a harem, there's a lot of little things in there that are very important. They seem silly. You'd be surprised how fast you lose a girl for the stupidest little thing. To you, it doesn't make a difference. I had a girl, she told me, "I don't want you to ask me about my past. I don't want to have any kind of really serious relationship. I want just a sexual relationship with you. You've been my best sex partner ever. Whenever you need sex, you call me. If I'm available, you'll come over. and vice versa. And I'm thinking to myself, pinch me, I must be fucking dreaming. I went out with her for 3 years. While I had other girls in my harem and I lost them, and I didn't have to give her cards, I didn't have to do anything. Whenever she was horny, she called me. Why did it only last 3 years? Because a bad thing happened. She fell in love with me. We had such a good relationship. And she comes to me one day and says, I'd like to change our relationship now. And I look at her and I go, look, when we met, you read me the Riot Act. You didn't ask my opinion. You told me what you want. And I liked it, so I decided to agree to it. I'm not ready to change any part of it. It was your idea, and now you're gonna have to live with it. Well, you're dealing with a woman that doesn't last very long. Okay, when they fall in love with you or they want more, you don't know how many times I've heard a woman say to me, either you marry me, or either you get engaged to me, or I'm not seeing you anymore. And I'm thinking to myself, because I think I'm a rational man. Let me see. Either I marry her, or she's never gonna see me again. And she loves me so much. How the fuck can she love me if she could say that to me? It doesn't compute. So I would say to her, so you've decided that if I don't do what you want me to do, our relationship is over. You decided. It wasn't a mutual decision. You decided, and I don't want you to decide my future and my life. And yeah, it's times like that where you're horny. You want to get fucked. But either you have to say, okay, and get fucked. And what is she doing? She's blackmailing you with sex. There's thousands of songs about don't use sex as a weapon. There's a song that says don't use sex as a weapon. But they all do. I went out with a girl one time, I think I told Gil this story. She was 32 years old. I think I was 35. And it was our third date. And I told her, if I don't fuck a girl on the third date, I'm not there anymore. So on the third date with her, and I think she called me like at home every night between every date. So I was talking to her for already 3 weeks, a lot in between. So I'm coming up to her house. Her mother was out of town, so she brings me into her mother's bedroom to show me her mother's bedroom. We start making out. We get into bed, both naked. I admit it again, I'm talking to her. She says to me, I have a surprise for you. I go, yeah? What's the surprise? She says, I'm a virgin. Holy fuck, I jump out of bed. I get my clothes, I start getting her. She says, what's the matter? What did I do wrong? I go, listen, you saved it for 32 years. You think it's a lot more precious than I do. I don't think it's any present or any prize. You better give it to somebody that'll appreciate it, because I won't. Yeah. And I've had that with girls when they fucking don't leave me alone. You took my cherry. You're the first guy. The only guy I let touch me. Yeah. I heard those fucking stories. Write them in a book and sell it to the kids. Everybody's had a first guy. I had one guy call me up because he had what we call, in my circle, a Klingon. And it's not from Star Trek. They don't fucking leave you alone. That's when you realize. That's when most guys, when they get a Klingon, realize one thing goes through their mind. Fuck, that David is so fucking right. They're such bitches. They don't leave you alone. They go after you with a vengeance. when they get possessive or they get crazy, and there's been a lot of those movies made about that, with that very famous movie, what was it, with Michael
Fatal
Douglas?
Attraction.
Yeah, Fatal Attraction. I've had girls come after me like that, crazy girls. They don't leave you alone. I used to tell, like I said, when I had a secretary, I told my secretary, if they call you, tell them, I'm not even gonna give the call to David because he's gonna get very upset. You're not allowed to call him at work. And I've had them come into my office to talk to me, and I said, get out. I said, I don't care if I never see you again. You're not listening to my rules. If you make your rules, you have to stick to them at all costs, no matter what it entails. That's the hardest thing about having a harem. You have to make your rules and you have to stick to them like it's the law, because it is the law. It's your safety. I've heard guys bump into a girlfriend with their other girlfriend, and there's like bloodshed. I knew a guy where the girl he was with, when he found out this other girl he was fucking, she stuck a fork in his chest. Vicious. Now, not every girl's gonna do that to you. But if they get that way inclined, you're in trouble. So your security, your safety is very important. You have to guard yourself. Having a harem, it's a great dream. It's a great dream to have a harem. I'd like to have 20 girls to fuck. But unless you live in a fucking tent on the sand, you ain't gonna have one. Because you got people that you're dealing with. Look, you got, there was just a thing, or there was a show on TV where this guy has a bunch of wives. And they all know he's fucking everybody. And there was a couple of stories where, you know, like these Law and Order shows where this guy had a bunch of wives and one wife tried to kill him or killed the other wife because they get jealous. You know those sayings about a woman's wrath, you know? You're dealing with fire, you're dealing with danger. You have to be prepared. Sometimes I look at this guy with 10 wives that are talking to each other. Holy fuck. And the reality is, a harem with 10 women or 20 women, they're all on the period at the same time. Did you know that? Even women living in the same house together, mothers and daughters, they end up having the period at the same time. I don't know why, like I said, I can't figure things out, but that's it. You can speak to any doctor, they'll tell you, if a woman lives in the same proximity with another woman, they end up, is it for harems? I don't know, probably. For me, to have 20 women that you can't fuck in the same week, you gotta listen to them, that's really dangerous. But there's reality with every, you know, the dream of like what people say having a harem is. I have 2 students right now. One's got a harem of 2 girls. And you know what he told me? He says, I never thought how much work it is to have 2. Because I told him we start with 1, then you go with the second one, then after that you're comfortable, you go to the third one. It's like anything else. You have to build up to it. You can't just say, I'm gonna have 6 girls, I'm gonna fuck all 6 girls. I never made it to 6. The most I made it to was 4, and I was always hunting pussy. I'd get the 5th one to replace one of the 4, because I just didn't have enough hours in the day. It was, I would have liked to have 5, but it takes a lot of time. And today, the one problem I encountered today that I didn't encounter when I was younger is the texting problem. Women are so fucking rude. I can guarantee you, any guy that gets a text from women, like Gil asked me today, he says, I didn't know how to send you a text. Like, I don't take texts. My phone gets texts. I don't read them. I don't take them. I never look at them. I tell everybody I don't take texts. Talk to a girl, I'd like to hear your voice. I'm not going to take a text from you. If you text a girl, how many guys here have texted girls and they never answer them back? Raise your hand. Is that a coincidence? Not possible. That practically all you guys, hey, everybody, I think, eh?
Yeah.
How many of you guys didn't answer your texts? A couple, but not everybody. But that's the big problem. Texting is giving them the right to be rude. They give you their number and they don't answer you. Are you thinking, do I have their number? Maybe I don't have their number. I've seen it, you know, I wanted to perfect my internet dating because I made, like, I don't know if you guys know it, but on my site I sell a tape of me talking to a girl. It's called Orgasm Girl. I talked to her for an hour, you know, because in the past I talked to a lot of girls. I had a case where I would talk to a girl on the phone and I would tell her about one of my fantasies, and then I would say, I'm coming over and you have to be waiting for me, and, you know, getting all turned on, and then I would send you. And what happened was I sent a friend of mine, this guy looks like Mr. Clean. He wears an earring, he's bald, he's tall, and he wears a weightlifter's belt all the time. He's a little eccentric, but he looks like the Mr. Clean from the jar, you know? Looks exactly like him. So I'm telling her, I'm 5'8", I have brown hair, and I sent him over to fuck her. And he fucks her, and he comes back and he goes, she's not bad looking too. I go, really? So my friend Cliff says, you gonna talk to her again? I go, I can send you over there if you want. He goes, no. I go, watch. I call her up. I says, you bitch. My friend was here. He listened to me write down the address, and he went over instead of me. You fucked my friend instead of me. You have some fucking nerve. And I got her crying on the phone. Please give me another chance. I didn't know. I didn't realize. So I sent over Cliff. I tried to do 3 times, but no, I was pushing my luck. But yeah, I built her a fantasy in her mind. Because that's, like I said, with the romance novel, they get this fantasy in their mind. They don't care who it is. I said, do you think he looks like me? He's 6'4", he's bald. I told you I'm 5'8", and I have brown hair. Where does it come to? And you fucked it. You know, and it doesn't matter. I got her horny, I got her turned on. They're not like guys. Mind you, I could call any one of you guys and say, I'm sending over a girl to fuck you. And boy, you wouldn't care who it is. It's a different scenario, but yeah. So I tried to get more of these phone conversations. I have a lot of them. And a lot of times for my students, like I was mentioning my other student, Mark, I got him on a date like that with a girl. I talked to her, he went over and he went out with her and he fucked her. I don't know if I would have wanted the first girl I fucked in my life to think I was David X, if I wasn't David X. But I didn't want to send him to a prostitute. Because there's nothing like a woman that wants to fuck you. You know, I was in Amsterdam with Alan Roger Curry. And we went to those places where there's like glass doors where women are standing behind. And one of my students in Amsterdam This guy's amazing. You look at him, he's a lawyer, but he hates law, so he drives taxi. You have a lot of that. You have a lot of people like that in Toronto too. They did an interview a few years back. A lot of very intelligent people just don't want to be in the field that they graduated. So he had a friend who's a pimp, but a pimp there is not like here. Here a pimp is sleazy and this and that. A pimp there is a guy that has rights to so many doors, because there's like 200-300 doors there, and he has women working for him in those doors. It's all legal, legitimate. They have to go to be tested X amount of time or whatever. It's all 100%, you know. So they were telling me about it, and he's telling me, and I said, I look at these girls, he says, which one are the Dutch girls? And he says to me, none. The Dutch girls don't do it anymore. Only in the smaller towns, not in Amsterdam anymore. I go, really? And you see these girls standing in the windows half naked with their cell phones. They're going, you know, they're talking on there. And he tells me he goes in with his friend, and this guy, good looking guy, over 6 feet, he doesn't like women that are under 250 pounds. No, it's his choice. You know, I can tell you stories. I fucked a fat girl once. I thought I was doing it for the country. You know, I get a very, I have to spit every time I think about it. He likes them, so, you know, I don't care. Everybody's allowed to like what they want. I don't criticize that. But the other fellow's telling me, the pimp is telling me, he says, these girls work for 8 hours a day, 7 days a week. I said, how many guys do they fuck a day? He goes, oh, usually 10, 15 minutes a guy. And I'm thinking again, the math is coming through my mind. Their fucking cunts must be like leather. I don't care if they're checked out by doctors or not. And the other guy's telling me, he says, yeah, I was talking with he says, me and the pimp went into one girl, because it's his friend. And she's blowing him, and he's blowing one of the guys, and he's fucking the other one on the phone. And when she finishes, she's still on the cell phone with the same call. She doesn't even know what they're doing to her. She doesn't care. It's like machinery. I don't get turned on for that. I never got turned on with prostitutes. Yeah, I had tried a prostitute when I was younger with my buddies and stuff like that, but no, I didn't get turned on I like when a woman wants me to fuck her. When I get her to come and she's fucking wiggling all over the place. You know, I fucked a lot of women, and I was never afraid to ask the woman what makes you feel good, what turns you on. I went through a very bad period when one day I'm at my friend's house, and he just got married to this very nice girl. And I'm telling her about a date I had. I'm talking, I saw this bitch, lying cunt. But she has a nice body, but I didn't enjoy fucking her. And she goes, you know, she says, I like you a lot. My husband thinks you're the greatest guy. He says, but I don't like the way you talk so derogatory about women. So I go, you know, I says, I don't know, it's just from my experiences. She goes, I think you need to see a professional. Well, it's a woman telling me to go to see a professional, so I said, what do you recommend? So she says, I know this psychiatrist. It's a woman psychiatrist. Can you go see her? I said, sure, if that's what you think I need, let me try it. I'm not a stubborn guy. So I go see this psychiatrist and I tell her. She says to me, what do you have against the women? And I say, well, I find they all lie to me so much. I said, I can't stand it. A woman tells me I'm the first guy who gave them an orgasm. I don't believe them. How could it be? So I went to her for a while. And she says to me, I want you to do something for me. I says, well, she says, I want you to go out with this girl and tell me what happens. She's got lots of problems, but she's a very nice girl. Take her out. fucking psychiatrist recommending me to take her to her. I'm gonna take her out, so I take her out. And she's all horny and everything, and end up fucking her the first night. And she says, don't tell the doctor. Don't tell her, because she was a patient of hers too. So I go, I'm not gonna lie to her. She told me to take you out. So, my next meeting comes next week. I get there, and the doctor tells me, she told me what happened. She called her like that same night maybe, or next day, before I talked to her, to tell her what happened. I said, okay. She says to me, I got something else for you. I got another girl I want you to see. So I go out with her. Now, similar thing happened 2 nights for her, and I fucked her. And the psychiatrist, I come back, I go, why did you send me out with these girls? She said, both these girls came to me because they never had an orgasm in their life, and they thought they're not capable. And both of them swore to me that you gave them an orgasm. So she says to me, they're not lying to you. You might think they're lying to you. I says, come on. She says, no, when it comes to that, women don't lie about that. If they say they had an orgasm, they usually did. I found it skeptical. What changed my mind about that is when I fucked a psychiatrist. Yeah, I got good. Yeah, I could control my orgasm. I would used to tell a girl, I'm gonna come. When you start coming, tell me you're coming, and I'll start coming with you. Oh, that's all I fucking needed. They were fucking. And I gotta tell you, that's when I learned about Klingons. Some women, if you satisfy them, and nobody else has ever satisfied them, and they're in their late 20s or early 30s, you're in trouble. They won't leave you alone. Those problems are problems I hope you all have. It's learning experiences, it's nice problems.
So the question is about the text message. You said if you're sending a text message, they become rude, they don't respond. Doesn't the same happen for the voice calls? Because if you call them, they don't pick up.
Yeah, it's the same thing. It's being rude. Once they're rude, they're rude. You know, like I said, when I started the internet dating, right away, I never asked a girl for her phone number, ever. I would ask a girl like I did with him, where do you work? Where do you go to school? She tells me where she works. My questions would be, what kind of job do you do there? Oh, I'm a secretary, let's say. You like your job? Who's your boss? What company you work for? Right away, I know where she works. Be easy to find out. And when you call them at work, when they didn't give you their phone number, it's a different thing completely. Again, you're in the power position of lead. They didn't give you their phone number, but you found them. Shows the control you have. I would talk about hundreds of questions. I would ask them, what's your favorite color? I can ask a girl, and that's what I would want to have a girl here. I can ask her certain questions and I can get her personality and what she likes out of the questions. What fruit she likes, what's your favorite colors, what's your second favorite fruit. It's easy for me because that comes from experience. Okay, it starts coming together in my mind. But that's exactly what it is. I don't let them be rude to me. I don't accept bad behavior. And I tell them up front. See, I used to call it, you have to walk around with ammunition, guns. You have to tell them what you expect and what you don't expect. Can you handle a guy who knows what he wants? Can you handle a guy who doesn't take your bullshit? And I would tell them like that. There's no reason. I can guarantee if I meet any one of you guys and ask you for your phone number, you'd give the phone number, and if I called you, you'd pick up the phone. And I'd have no idea about these rude women out there who don't do that, who give you a fake phone number? Ah, I have a friend, Cliff, he's gotten more bullshit numbers than anybody I know. You come up with these stupid lines and they give you the phone number. Or like, there's a guy, he was also my student, they call him Mystery. I don't know if you heard of him, Eric. And he used to come to me and he'd say, you know, he goes out like a clown with a top hat, different colored fingernails, you know. I don't go for that, but whatever, you know, whatever floats your boat, what can I say? But he came to me and he says he's got no follow through with them. You know, he says they give him their number when he's out with a bunch of guys, showing guys how he picks up women. They give him the number, but all the numbers they give him are just numbers they made up just to get rid of him. You know, they're with their friends, they go, oh yeah, yeah. And then later on they go, I didn't give him my number, don't worry. Why do you want to be made a fool of? Or you give them their number and they don't answer you? What do you think? I've proven it where I've talked to a girl on the internet and she answers me and I go, what the fuck is she talking about? Because she's being talked to by so many different guys. She's lost track of who she's... And I've seen it, they go like this to their friend. Look what he said to me. What do you think I should tell him? Look what he said. What the fuck is going on? What is this, a show? You try to pick up a girl and she's playing games with you? Twisting up your fucking heart? It's not right. It's not the kind of behavior that they should do. You catch them on it all the time.
From all your experience, what you're doing, you're banging a lot of chicks, no doubt. One thing, would you boil it down? It sounds like ultimately you have to be a master of conversation, and not only that, but you also have to be really, as you said, quick on your feet to be able to respond, and then be able to push their buttons.
I don't say a master conversation. I say I've given this as an assignment to make a list of questions that you'd like to find out about a woman. I start like this. I want to know where she works. But women are funny. At the beginning of the conversation, they don't want to tell you anything pertinent. And when a girl asks me a question that I don't feel comfortable with, I usually answer them, I don't feel comfortable answering that question. I believe in honesty, trust, and respect, but I don't believe that I have to answer every question you decided to ask me. Now, once you've said that to a girl, the next question you ask her, she won't give you an answer because they go to spite you. They're like children. So usually when they ask me a question like that, then I ask them, what's your favorite color? I'm not telling you. Because I know the next question I ask them, they ain't telling me. Doesn't matter what it is. So I've put my questions in the way to make them feel comfortable. Because a woman will fuck you if she feels comfortable with you. A woman is not like a guy. She has to feel comfortable with you. She has to feel like she trusts you. After I talk to a woman for a while, I feel, don't you feel like we've known each other for a long time? And usually they'll tell me things like, the last boyfriend I had didn't know half as much as you've asked me. Yeah. I ask them questions like, where did you grow up? How far did you go in school? Stuff that isn't personal, really, you know? Where did you grow up in Toronto? Oh yeah, not Mississauga? No, my cousin lives in Mississauga. How long did you go to school? Where did you go to school? When you finished school, did you find it easy to find a job? You're a smart girl, you probably found a job the next morning. No, it took a while. I worked for this company, I didn't like them. By getting comfortable with them, the questions you ask them are very important. Not so much quick on your feet, you have to be smart. You want to find out. I want to find out things that are important to me is how I can get in touch with her again without her knowing it. How promiscuous is this girl? Because I'm going to put my dick my favorite fucking thing in the world, I gotta put in her fucking dirty pussy? You gotta be kidding. Okay? I wanna find out when's the last time she had a relationship. I had a student not long ago, I haven't spoken to him in 3 years, but he told me, he went out with this girl and I told him, don't live with her. It was his first girlfriend. He didn't listen to me. He moved in with her, then she gave him the ultimatum, and then he fell apart. That was a lot. And then he met this girl. He was so fucking horny, and I said to him, to me, something, my gut is telling me don't go out with her, don't see her anymore. I'm gonna be able to fuck her this weekend. I said, you know, I had a girl like that, and she told me she had herpes. And he tells me, no, nothing's wrong with her. And then he calls me back, he says, yeah, she had herpes. I says, I told you don't see her anymore. So he says, yeah, but you know, I went out with a girl, she told me she had herpes. The guy gave it to her, and I thought to myself, fuck, I'm smart. I've got one of my best friends is a surgeon. I called him up. I said, what do I have to be aware of? And he starts telling me it's not that dangerous, but you have to be aware of when they have the outbreak, and you have to da-da-da, and he's telling me this and that. He finishes telling me, and he says, but I want to tell you something. With all the girls you have, you need this for you in your life? And I think to myself, fuck, he's right. I gotta be a martyr to go out with this girl because she's got herpes. Somebody fucked her up, why do I gotta get fucked up? Why do I gotta take a chance? I don't need to play Russian roulette. So I told her, I says, you know, I appreciate you telling me, but I don't feel comfortable every time I go over, I only think about the herpes. So I told this other guy, I says, it's giving me the same vibes. Anyway, he doesn't talk to me anymore because he got herpes from her. And then she dumped him. What's important to me? My security. Finding out the most thing about a woman. Yeah, they're good looking, they're pretty, but you don't know what's there. You know they have rude behavior, they might not call you back. Then if they call you back, what do they want from you? Why are they calling you back? Well, when you find out they work in Joe Blow law office and they're a legal secretary, you call, can I speak to Linda? At Joe Blow law office? Yeah, sure. Hi Linda, remember we met in the supermarket the other day? I couldn't wait to speak to you again. Oh, really? They get turned on because you found them. But you still gotta know, what was your last relationship? Was it a serious relationship? How long did you go out with the guy? Who broke up, you or him? I go, all these questions, because it's my security, my safety. Look, when I first started, we didn't even use condoms. You know, I had a lot of little things that, thank God, were never serious. Had to put creams on, take penicillin shots. And then started using condoms. When fucking AIDS came out, fuck, I got scared. I heard it's not just the last girl you fucked. It's the last person she fucked for the last 5 years. I started getting scared. I called up my surgeon friend. I said, you better give me an AIDS test. So my first AIDS test, he gives me his AIDS test. And I'm sitting there in my house making a list who I'm gonna kill if I have AIDS. All these guys that pissed me off, I'm making a fucking list of who I'm gonna kill. So after he calls me up, I'm waiting, I'm calling him every day. I didn't get it in yet, relax. The first test took a long time for results. So I get it in, he tells me like this, I'll never forget this, he'd like to bust my chops. Because he gave about 5 or 6 girls abortions for me. So we were very tight friends, we still are. So he tells me like this, you don't have AIDS, but it only tells me 5 years ago you didn't have AIDS. From now, we have to wait another 5 years, so you have to either stop fucking. I'm like, fuck. What is this? So you have to be like me. I was really paranoid. You either go two ways. You either don't give a shit anymore and you live your life, or I'm a paranoid guy. I got so fucking scared. I'm gonna fucking get AIDS. I started checking out girls. I said, lie them down. I fucking look at their fucking pussy, carried a magnifying glass. I still have a magnifying glass in my bag, just in case, to check out the fucking pussy. And, you know, he told me what to look for herpes. I had girls that got fucking pissed off and got dressed and left. I didn't give a shit. I was that paranoid. I made girls give me a blowjob with fucking condoms on. You know? I didn't take a chance. I went for a while, I went like, when the AIDS thing was like, blew up, you know, I went like crazy. You get paranoid, you can't help it. And I tailor-made my questions to find out as much as possible about this woman I'm gonna sleep with. And that's what made where you think I have all the answers and all the questions. No, it was to feed my paranoia that all these questions developed. That's why I say, I usually give an assignment, make a list of questions that you'd like to ask a woman. And then I refine it. Because I started asking, what about this? What about that? What about this? You go, yeah, oh, you're right, oh, you're right, oh, you're right, oh, yeah, okay. And we get another list. By the time you finish, you got a fucking huge list of questions. And if you sit down with a girl and ask her all the questions, she wants to go out with you already. Because you know everything about her. And that's the good part. You got all this kind of time before you fuck them. You want to spend it in the hospital bed after you fuck them. My questions evolved from safety, security, what I wanted to go through my mind. I didn't give a shit at that point. And I didn't care if I hurt their feelings or not. I had lots of friends who died from AIDS. You know? There was a point where, well, I think a couple of those friends that died of AIDS, it wasn't because they went out with women. It's because they went out with guys. But in the business I was in, I dealt with a lot of gay guys. Had one guy in Montreal, he invited me to his club. It was the Store Club in Montreal. I go there with my girlfriend, she's the only woman in the place. And I didn't feel comfortable. It was a gay bar. I didn't know the guy was gay, I was naive. But again, what was the most important thing for me? My security. You know, I tell my son, you need some condoms? So I go into my drawer and I give him a box of condoms. And my wife goes over, he says, you serious, eh? Yeah. She goes, they're 20-year-old condoms. You're gonna give him 20-year-old condoms? I didn't realize. I've been with the same woman for 20 years. I don't need condoms, I don't use them. So my wife says to me, she says, I'm gonna buy him some new ones, you know? But yeah, I told my son about it right away. Practice safe sex. Be careful when you're dealing with her. I think AIDS is finished now, basically, because you don't hear about it anymore. Nobody's dying like crazy. They're not having all these rallies about it. Basically, the pharmaceutical companies have taken care. You still get AIDS, but you don't die from it. You live with medication and stuff like that. I mean, I might be wrong, but that's what the feeling I get is. But that's not why you should be more promiscuous. I believe there's now going to be a more promiscuous generation coming out, because this is what happens. It comes in waves. You know, I went from the beginning, I went to orgies, you know? Lots of guys and girls, everybody's fucking everybody. That stopped for a while, you know, and because of the AIDS thing and the herpes. Herpes is, I think, the biggest problem today, because it's out there big time. But That's stuff you guys gotta watch. You guys gotta take care of yourself for. But that's what's important. You know, you wanna go out with a girl, you wanna fuck a girl, you wanna have a good time. Inevitably, maybe you wanna settle down, have kids with her or with another woman, but you wanna be secure with your own feelings. You see, going out with a lot of women, because the funny thing is, with all the women I've been with, you'd think I was with thousands of virgins. No. I could count on my hands how many virgins I've been with. So these girls are getting fucked not only by guys like me, they're getting fucked. They enjoy getting fucked. You know, it's a funny thing. I like to ask women a question which is very factual. Because I was watching this show on TV. It's not Canadian. It's Dr. Oz. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Anyway, and I was clipping through the channels like most guys do. I'm a terrible channel changer, you know. If something doesn't interest me, it's gone right away, you know. And with the amount of channels you have today, you know, by the time you get back to the first show, it's over already. So I was clipping through and he was saying something which was real important. But he said something like, which I always used this statistic because I read in a Cosmo magazine when I was in my doctor friend's office. And it said that 60% of all women never achieve an orgasm in their lifetime. Now I heard the figure was higher, but I like to ask women, I heard this figure, do you believe it? And you know, I figured a woman would say no. I've had women saying, oh, you want to find out if I've had an orgasm? And I go, no, I want to find out if you believe in that statistic. And most women say yes, they believe in it. Now, when you say that, what does it mean? Let's dissect that for a second. If it's true, 60% don't have an orgasm. Well, what goes through my mind first is those 60% can be more manipulative than the other ones. Because they're not dying to get fucked. They might be dying for an orgasm, but if they're not having one, they don't know what they're missing. If they've had sex and not an orgasm, well, I don't think they're dying for what they don't know they had. What else does that mean? Well, it comes to statistics that I need to know. It means that 4 out of every 10 women are the ones I'd like to try to fuck. I want to fuck the ones that have orgasms because they're more fun. Now, another statistic I heard from Dr. Oz was very interesting. He said 50% of all men think about sex all the time. Now, I don't know if it's 50%, but I know I'm in the statistic where I think about sex all the time. So I can believe I'm in that 50%, but that doesn't mean that the other men don't want sex. It means that they don't think about sex all the time. And he said another interesting thing was 25% of all women think about sex all the time. Now, if you put 25% of all women think about sex and the 60% of all women don't have an orgasm, then what you're saying is 1 out of every 4 women think about sex all the time. So right away, you're narrowing down the market you're trying to cover. Look, marketing in Canada, United States, they always try to get a market, people who are going to buy the product. You're not going to sell kids that are under 6 years old whiskey. You know? So you have to go for the market you're looking for. And what does it come to in my mind? It means you go into a bar or a club or a supermarket. Look at the woman that looks sexy. See, I ask women that look sexy, what's my first question I ask them? I go, do you need to wear sexy underwear under your clothes to feel sexy, or you just feel sexy all the time? Now, you know, it sounds like a loaded question, but that question gives me so much answer. I found that the ones that say, I feel sexy all the time, are that 25% that think about sex all the time. I find the ones that say, I love wearing sexy underwear, think about sex all the time. I find the ones that say, I don't wear sexy underwear, well, they're in that 60% bracket, I don't want to fucking know. It's a question that you guys didn't think of that question before I mentioned it now. But that's a very important question for what I want to know. And I think it's an important question for what you guys want to know. It's taking hold of what you want to accomplish, what you want to find out. When it comes to whatever business you guys are in, whatever course you're taking in school, every day you're taking that course, there's new things you're finding out. And there's little, what do they call it? They call them little exercises for fine-tuning what you're thinking about, what other people are thinking about. Same thing in business. So these are what the questions are important for. This is what you guys should be thinking about rather than what she's thinking about. See, in my mind, I'm thinking about a lot of stuff, but none of the things I'm thinking about is what she's thinking about. Because if I'm trying to guide myself to trying to please her, I'm not paying attention to what's really important. As now, you're all starting to go, fuck yeah, he's right. Yeah. You have to think about what's important to you. I don't think I'm any smarter than you in asking the questions. I think my paranoia led me to that system, which is a good thing. I don't think I've done anything that I haven't evolved to the right way. I know I can start to asking a woman questions and she's completely in my control. Because the questions I'm asking her are important questions. And they're not easy for her to answer with lies. Right away you can feel it. And if they start lying to you, you know immediately, and you know, okay, bye. You know you're wasting your time. Why wait till after you spent money on her and took her out 3-4 times and you didn't get anything? Why wait till you text her and all of a sudden she disappears? How long did you live with your parents? You have a good relationship with your parents? Where do your parents live? Are you living, does your mother have the same husband as when you were a kid? I can find out his name in a minute and then call up her parents and to leave a message for her. You'd be surprised how fucking she calls me back after that. I do everything possible to find out more than any other guy's ever found out. And that's why it's so easy. Because guys don't take that much trouble. They're all trying to please this woman on her lead. There's only 3 positions you can be in: lead, follow, or get out of the way. Now, if you're gay, it's get out of the way for sure. But follow is not a good position. Gil. You like follow?
No, never.
It's not a good position. You're not happy. You're frustrated. You have to be in a position where you feel good and where you're, again, the questions, and you all should do this, you know, make out a list of questions. If you compare with each other, or email me, I'll look through your list and give you an answer if it's enough or not enough, or you're halfway there. David at David X Dating. But these are important things for you to find out. They're little tricks that I've applied to be able to make my life easier. I'm not interested in making their life easier.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of ask a little more about the sort of the 25% who think about sex all the time. So obviously, those are the ones that we want to find.
Exactly.
So I work in sales, so you always want to find who's buying what you're selling, right?
Exactly.
And so what you did is you asked a qualifying question, right, to try to determine that. So I guess I got two questions for you. One, how do you just by, do women who are these hornier percentages sort of have a signature? So in my opinion, the women who take the time, wear the high heels, the tight jeans, the cleavage, probably, right? So
If they're showing more ass,
yeah.
they're usually, doesn't mean, it's not a dead fast rule. Some women like to tease.
Yeah.
Don't make a mistake.
Right.
But I found that girls that wear sexy underwear, sexy lingerie underneath their clothes, think about sex all the time. I'll give you a tip. I was telling my son, and I'll tell you the same thing. We were on the train ride, and I tell him, you're gonna like this. I took him to Toronto, both my boys on the train, because it was their first train ride. So I'm sitting in the train car, and we're sitting right beside the bathroom, and the girls are coming back and forth, So I'm looking at the girls, and my son says, "But you're married, Dad." So I go, "Yeah, but you know what? I always have this fantasy in my mind, whether I'm on a plane or a train. What happens if the thing crashes and we're isolated on a desert island and I need to fuck somebody? I want to choose the one I'm going to start fucking." He's looking at me and he goes, "How do you know it's going to be good or bad?" I go, "I watch the way they walk. I watch the way they're dressed. And I see the ones that look like, And I'm telling him that. And I'm telling him, you have to remember that girls want to turn on every guy. Whether they're doing it to tease you or not. You're in sales, well, you want to hit the right market right away. You're not going to sell a guy a Cadillac who doesn't know how to drive. You're not going to waste time trying to convince him to buy the car. You're not going to sell a guy a candy bar who's a diabetic. You try to capture your market. That's what sales is all about, right? Well, it's the same thing with women. I'm telling my son, I said, which is the women I used to go out with all the time? If I heard she's a nurse, I take her out right away, because I know nurses are horny. And then after nurses, teachers are horny.
Any other professions?
What's that?
Are there any other professions I should know of?
Yes. Stewardesses, waitresses. For some reason or other, women were serving men. Like I said, and it goes back to that thing in Holland. They want to take care of the man. They're thinking about that. It's their job. They've made it their job. I look at it, they've made it their job to get as close as possible to their desire. You know, when I was in high school, I only went out with girls who smoked cigarettes. One of my friends says, "What's wrong with you?" I go, "And if they smoke, they fuck." And he goes, "You're so full of shit. How did you come up with that rule?" I go, "Because every girl in high school that was smoking cigarettes, I fucked her if I tried to go out with her. And every girl that didn't smoke cigarettes, I had a hard time. So I made that rule." She says, "How's it work for you?" I go, "Actually, wonderful. That's why I tell people." But I don't know why. And I don't know why, but I'm like I said, evolving when I went to Holland and figuring out these women want. They want. Look at the Japanese women. You go to a bath, the women rub your balls and your ass, and they just want to be good to you. You know, there's these are women that look to take care of you. But there's a lot of women like that. I remember my late mother was always really good to my father. I once asked him when I was growing up, and I gotta tell you a good story after that. I once asked him, I says, "Why is she so good to you?" He goes, "That's her job." That's what my father answered me. That's her job. You know, when a father says that to you when you're in your teens, you don't understand it. You grow to understand it. You know, there's a story I like to tell. When I was about 16 years old, we're having a barbecue in the back of the house, and our neighbors are there. My father was friendly with a lot of the neighbors. We had a barbecue, more people would come. So it was like a Saturday, and I just had gotten my license. My father says to me, and we lived in Montreal, so you guys know, it's like, he says to me, "I need something picked up in New York City. How'd you like to go to New York City?" I said, "Fuck, give me the keys, I'm on my way." You know, you just started driving. I don't have to tell you guys, when you started driving, you were all excited to drive. If your parents sent you on an errand, like my son now, when I tell my sister, "I'm sending over my driver," you know. I need something picked up, I send my son. So the neighbor's daughter, who I babysat for when she was younger, she must have just been like 15. But I used to babysit. My mother was there next door, so it was like, you know, they just gave me the job because they liked me. And she says, could I go with you?" I look at her, and I never thought of her as a girl, because she was a baby, you know? And I take a look at her, she's, you know, developing and everything. And her father knew me since I'm a young kid, and he says, "You know what? You can trust David. He's a good driver." So he says to my dad, "Would you mind if she went with him?" I says, "No." She says, "No. They'll keep company, and my son will stay overnight, and they'll take 2 motel rooms, just outside of New York." So I go to my father, "I don't know, Dad. I don't know if I want to go with her. Could I go with one of my friends?" My father says, "No, go with her. She really wants to go with you. Maybe you'll get lucky." That's what he's telling me. So I look at him and I go, "Dad, she's not that kind of girl." My father laughs and says, "Okay." Now Montreal, as you guys know, is an island. To get out of the city, you have to go over one of the bridges. Well, the closest bridge to where we lived is the Mercier Bridge. And that's like 15 minutes from my house to go over the bridge. Before I crested the other side of the bridge, she was giving me a blowjob in the car on the way to New York. So I went to New York, and I fucked her, and I took her cherry She was 15 years old, and we took only one hotel room. So when I get back, I give all the papers to my father. He goes, "Where's the other hotel room?" I go, "Dad, we slept in one room." My father looks at me and he goes, "I thought she's not that kind of girl." I found out they're all that kind of girl. We're under this illusion. There's good girls and there's bad girls. And there's a saying that I like to tell, because you've heard it, I'm sure you've heard it. Treat a lady like a whore and a whore like a lady. And it works. Because if they think they're ladies, they're just the same whore as the other ones, okay? I learned real quick that they're all that kind of girl.
That's powerful. That's powerful.
What's that?
I said that's a very powerful thinking. Lady like a whore and whore like a lady.
But again, we go back, we fall back to being Sir Lancelot. You want to be a knight in shining armor. You want to? You know, there's a place for everything. Go to bed, close your eyes, think about Sir Lancelot, dream as much as you want. Because that's all it is, a fucking dream. In reality, it isn't there.
Different subject. You know, I totally intellectually get, you know, don't care what they think, but when you're sort of brought up, you know, I guess I've always sort of been, I've always done reasonably well, but I know I could do better. I've always tried to, don't let them know I'm hitting on them. I'm going to make conversation, I'm going to be talking about something that's relevant.
You just said something, I'm going to interrupt you.
Yeah.
You just said, don't let them know you're hitting on them.
Right, it's like I'm talking to them, but
But
I'm
you
not.
know, you are.
I know, but that's the mistake,
But you
right?
see, yeah, because you're saying don't let them know you're hitting on them. You're always hitting on them.
Right.
There's no reason, you know, there's no reason to talk to a woman that you're not hitting on.
What's happening?
So, you're not, you see, again, you're living in a little bit of an illusion. You don't think they know you're hitting on them?
Sure.
And instead of, try this, instead of don't let them know you're hitting on them, say, you know, I'm hitting on you. Let them become aware of it. You'll see the attitude change right away. They're gonna love the honesty because you are hitting on them.
Mm-hmm.
You see, that's again going back to not being honest. Honesty, trust, and respect works two ways. You have to also live it. Don't let them know you're hitting on them. It's wrong. No matter when I talk to a woman, whether I'm with my kids or with you guys, I am hitting on them. No question about it. Otherwise, why would I want to talk to them? Unless it's a business conversation.
Just a quick question. Oh, sorry.
I'll answer your question, but I wasn't fair to him because I stopped him in the middle.
Oh, so really, I guess my question is, how do you sort of, even though, like, it's not that I disagree with you or don't believe you, I do believe that what you're saying is the right approach, but when you're sort of, you know, you live a bunch of years doing one thing, it's sort of hard just to all of a sudden think different. So are there any sort of mental exercises or anything
Yeah,
like that?
it is hard. I'm not saying it's not, because you were thinking, again, of how you can please her when you're talking to her.
Right.
That's the hardest part, because not that you're thinking wrong. Again, you're going back to being Sir Lancelot. But you're not being fair to one person, you. You're not being fair to yourself, because if you look at a woman, if she says to you, fuck off, I don't want to talk to you, it's better than wasting your time. Because as we discussed before, when we start to figure out how much time the guy's got in his life, I want to tell you something. You get to my age, you realize even more so how precious time is. I had my best friend die when he was 43. he always wanted to go to Alaska because he loved huskies and he loved that Susan Butcher that did that Iditarod race. You know, he always loved those tough rods, and he always wanted to go to Alaska. When we found out he had leukemia, I said to him, anytime you want to go, I'll stop work, I'll get in the car, we'll drive, we'll fly, whatever you want, I'll go with you. And I was always tomorrow, and he died, he never went. Now, I've done stuff in my life where I can tell you, I've had a horse, I'm a scuba diver, I've gone skydiving. I wanted to live my life. I wanted to enjoy what life has to offer. That's why when I decided to have kids, it was something I hadn't done. I went out with a girl in Texas. That's what made me come back. I lived in Texas for 2 years. She had a son, 9 years old. I taught him how to ride a bicycle. I helped him. I taught him how to swim. And I had these fucking nightmares of killing him. Okay, I fucking hated that kid. And I love kids. They're nice. But this kid really started to piss me off. And when I went back to Texas years later and I bumped into the kid, he was already in his 20s. He said, I just wanted to piss you off. You were the nicest man to my mother ever, nicest to me. But I just wanted to piss you off. I go, I know, I kept dreaming about killing you. I dreamt about dropping him off at school and fucking running him over in front of my car. And then backing it up, running him over. And I said to her when I left, I said to her, I gotta leave. She goes, why? I go, I'm having these fucking bad dreams and I don't feel comfortable. You know, who knows what might happen to me? Who knows? Anytime people clicked, I don't want to kill her kid, but I couldn't stomach him. And then I decided to have kids. It was a real deal. What if I have a kid like that? This kid used to fucking wake up in the morning or the middle of the night. He used to have a fucking dump in the toilet, the fucking shit would stick out of the water. You'd go into the fucking bathroom, the fucking room would smell like shit. I don't have to tell you it. And I'd fucking tell the kid, flush the fucking toilet. So I tell her, her name was Judy, good looking girl. I'd say, Judy, you gotta talk to your kid. She goes, David, you gotta have, he never had a father who cared. You have to talk to him too. So I tell him, listen, what do I have to do for you to understand it? I can't stand it. It's something that bothers me. I can't wake up in the morning, go to shave and shower in a fucking shit-smelling bathroom. So I said, listen, would you please try the next day, same thing again. So I got a little pissed off. I said, listen, I don't want to hit you, beat you, but I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm going to give you 3 chances. Because you know, I told you I do everything in 3s. The 3rd time, I'm putting your fucking face in the toilet. Don't fucking fuck with me because I don't fuck around, but I say what I do. Well, guess what? He tried me, okay? And when he had shit all around his fucking ears, he never fucking did it again. I wouldn't, you know. You can ask my kid brother. I put his face in the toilet, but usually I put their face in the toilet to tell them who's boss. But just their face in the toilet with fresh water in there, it does something to you. You never forget that. And my oldest son, he'll tell you what it feels like to have your face in the toilet. Because after that, they're obedient. No questions asked, but that's what I had to do. But it's like anything else. I was always very strict. I was the kind of guy that you didn't fuck with. I was a tough guy, but I was a fair guy. I was never a bully. But, you know, I'd give the guy, I gave him fucking 3 chances, flush the toilet. What is it to go, you know, I don't understand it. Same thing with, listen, I remember the first time I decided to live with a woman. What a fucking disaster. From the first minute I made the decision, I knew it was a mistake. And I was looking for a reason to get mad and say, get out. You know, I couldn't. And one day she decided to cook a chicken, and the fucking chicken was raw. I don't know if you've ever put raw chicken in your mouth, but you can't eat that. I don't think you can eat any real raw meat, maybe beef, but not chicken. So I fucking freaked out. I'm spitting it out. And she says, you should be nice to me. I go, the fuck? Nice? You're trying to kill me. And that's the fight that I had. And I pushed that fight. I knew I was being like a little oversensitive. But I was looking for a reason to get her out. That was the last time I lived with her, brought till I ended up with the mother of my kids. I knew from the fucking first second I let her to come in, I knew it was a mistake, because then already, that's it, I can't bring other women into the place. What the fuck did you do? As smart as you think I am, I mean, you think I had it all, I fucked up. Big time. She was going through my drawers, whose underwear is this? And whose underwear is that? Whose bra is this? Oh fuck. I had hundreds of girls in my apartment. They left lots of stuff over there. There was a time I used to keep souvenirs of their panties, you know?
Yep.
Yeah, but she goes, you have to keep these? And I can't say I have to, but I just wanted to. You know, it's like, yeah, it's a trophy, you know? My ego, well, the fuck, yeah. You don't look at them. I know they're there. That's good enough for me, you know? My current wife, I'll tell you something. She went through our cutting up pictures like crazy. Had to hide them in my storage place. Okay. She says, you have to have them? I go, you know, a lot of girls to my love, David, all kinds of, you know, it's a lifetime. I like these little mementos.
Lunchtime?
Did I answer your question?
Partially. It's like I get what you're saying. I mean, I don't think there's an easy answer to how do you change your way of being, even though you understand it and agree with it.
Well, you know what? I'll tell you. It's not change your way of being. Because what I'm telling you is rule number one is designed to get you not to think what they're thinking about. It's not change. I don't try to change any of you guys. Unlike any other one of these so-called gurus, I don't want to change your personalities. I don't think it's a good idea. You've all developed and become who you are. But all I'm telling you is you just have to look at your way of thinking and go, why do I have to be afraid of her? I'm afraid of her because I'm thinking about what she's thinking. Why do I have to think about what she's thinking? There's so much I have to think about. That's what your list of questions is for. It's gonna make you change. Not that you're gonna consciously change. It's gonna make you change what you're thinking about. You have to think about what is important to you. What is really relevant. You have to think about what's gonna be good for you. Rule number two is really the most important rule. I tell a lot of guys, rule number one and rule number two is like a goalie and a defenseman. The most important person is the goalie. The defenseman tries to protect the goalie. You're the most important person, not her. You're changing your thinking, you should be the most important person. Is that changing your thinking or doing the right thinking? She's not more important than any one of you guys. That's what's important. You. That's what rule number one is, to protect you. Rule number two is to tell you who's the most important person in the relationship. You. But as soon as you tell me, yeah, but no. You are more important than her. Not that I'm trying to be derogatory towards her. She's a question mark, you know, like one of those where the person doesn't exist yet. And why are guys afraid of women? Why? I can't understand why.
That brings me to my, I guess, a segue. I find from my experience, because I was married and divorced, all this stuff, I got into the game through mystery and all that. I mean, it helped, but the one thing that really got me breaking through was going to strip joints and sitting there by yourself, watching all the hot chicks, asking them to strip in front of you, and you pay them. At the same time, you're saying no. So I'm just wondering, like, based upon that dynamic, what's your, I mean, have you ever been in that mindset or thought about things?
I loved strippers. I'll tell you why. I looked at strippers as, you're looking at a girl, you know exactly what you want, it's right there. It's like, you know, all you need to do is now test drive it. And I'm looking, and I did what you did. I sat in a fucking strip club, and I'm watching, and these girls are coming up to me wanting to do table dances. I said, no.
And they get
I'm
pissed
just
off
gonna
at
sit
you.
here and have a beer. And I watched, and I said, every guy wants to fuck the strippers. And I go, how can I pick up a stripper? Because every one of these guys wants to pick up a stripper. What can I say to her? I'm not fucking the best looking guy on the planet. What can I say to her other than, I've got $1,000 to fuck you? What can I say to her? And then I had this stripper come to me 4 times, and she sat down. And she says, what's your problem? And I go, my problem is I'm looking at all these women here, and I'm trying to think, I'd like to know what you're really like. I know I see you naked, so I see what your body's like. But I'd like to know what you're really like. And all of a sudden I had an idea. I said to her, we go out for coffee on Sunday afternoon. Because I don't know anybody that's in a strip club is thinking of taking out a stripper for coffee on Sunday afternoon. And I'm thinking, that's a question nobody else asked her. And she says to me, I have a 4-year-old son. I spend Sundays with him. So I don't want to back off. So I say, let's go, we'll take him to the zoo. She's serious? She says to me, I says, yeah. You don't have to strip for me. We'll talk, we'll take him to the zoo, we'll have a nice day. She says, okay. Gives me her phone number. I took her out Sunday. I didn't try to kiss her, I just talked to her, telling me about her relationship with the father, what kind of prick he was. She ragged on the father and the kid for the whole afternoon. And the kid, we're having fun. I bought the kid a cotton candy, and I take her up back to her house, and she says, you know what she says to me? She says, I knew you were different because you were the only guy not wearing a baseball cap in the strip club. This is what she said to me. I look funny in baseball caps. That's the only reason I don't wear one. But all of a sudden, I said, can I see you again? She says to me, I don't work on Wednesdays. Can you come for dinner Wednesday night? I said, sure. I have dinner with her and her kid Wednesday night, and we sit down on the sofa watching TV. And she's rubbing up against me, and I tell her, look, I said, I didn't come here to have sex with you. I'm like thinking of what girls would say to me. You know what I mean? I'm trying complete role reversal. I go, I didn't come here. I don't want you to think I only want you for sex. So I'm lying like a rug right now. And she's all over me. I went out with her for about 6 or 7 months. And then every time I went to a strip club to pick up a stripper, I used to say, Ploy, would you like to go out to the country? We'll do a picnic, wine and cheese on a blanket in the afternoon. I would do whatever no guy would ask him for. It was almost easy. I'm watching these guys. Fuck you. Can we go over there? Fuck you. You gotta get their attention. And it's easy. You don't have to be super smart. Like I said, I sat down at that strip club and I observed what everybody else was doing. And I led her. How do you think I enjoyed taking a fucking 4-year-old to the zoo? Believe me, I had absolutely no interest, but I wanted to go out to the street. I tell you something. I took her to all my friends, showed her off to all my friends. And then one of my friends goes, doesn't she work at that strip club down there? Yeah. My ego was fucking busting. Yeah, it was like a trophy. Why'd I have a trophy? Because I did the opposite. You know, there was a Seinfeld episode, I don't know if you watched Seinfeld, where George started to do the opposite of whatever he ever did before. He got the girl, he got the job. This was way before Seinfeld was up, but I tried it, and it works. Yeah, I am trying to pick you up. What's wrong with that? How many guys you think looked at a girl in the face and said, yeah, I am trying to pick you up?
I've had that where I've gone up to hot chicks and go, how many guys have come up to you and said that you're hot? They go, none. And I go, well, here I am. Right? And boom, it's like,
You know what? This is amazing, okay?
Yeah.
I picked up the hottest chicks because most guys are like this. Oh, she's too good looking, she won't go out with me. And you ask the hottest chicks and they go, nobody asked me out. Because the guys are, again, thinking for these girls. You got enough trouble thinking for yourself. Don't think for them. You have to think, like I said, yeah, I'm trying to pick you up. What do you think I'm talking to you for? What's wrong with that answer? It ain't gonna be any worse or any better if you get the same result.
Yeah. So,
But the difference is you feel good about yourself after. Right?